DJ the Guildmaster with
Jason, Iron Foot.
Hey, we're going over, if you see us tweaking this, there we go. We're kind of going over our thoughts of the Bolt Action Tournament Historicon this year. Before we get into that, you guys already have my opinion on Historicon. How was your experience? You went out there as a family vacation, but you were doing that and other stuff.
Yeah, a lot of great areas around Lancaster, as a lot of us Pennsylvanians know. Hershey Park and all that, but the con itself is very good. A lot of great events, a lot of great tables, a lot of good people, beautiful display boards all over the place, especially out in the main areas.
Yeah. Something we noticed too, they had a lot more sci-fi games this year.
Yeah, first 40K.
Yeah, it was the first time they've run a 40K tournament at Historicon. It actually had a very large turnout, which we've always said they should have reached out to that community and bring them in to the fold. And then, because there's a lot of cross-pollination, and 40K is not in a good spot right now. So, like, come over with Bolt Action and Conflict 47 guys.
Yeah, it'll be good to see K47 there next year, probably.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked. I had a long discussion with John Russell about Conflict 47. I might do another video. He talked about being on the channel. So I got to see what he wants to do that and reach out, because he told me to talk to him and then see about doing a Zoom. So that might be in the future. But
about the only big surprise was no Battlefront event.
Yeah, the Battlefronts left the community high and dry. There's a it's kind of concerning seeing how they were a staple at Historicon for years.
First tournament I ever went to.
And yep, and a lot of other big events, they didn't have a booth out there. And I don't know, corporate stuff happening, reorganization of the company, we don't know. Yeah. But there was actually a lot of people who commented on that out there.
So we'll see what happens next year, but
yeah,
this is about Bolt Action, I suppose.
yeah, and then I've kind of mentioned it to some of the guys in the group. I'm thinking maybe trying to get a room for just heavy metal wargamers, and then having like an open play area we meet and greet everybody, because we saw a lot of fans out there this year. I got recognized a bunch. I know some folks were just talking to you and everything.
Yeah.
So like that'll be in the future, but as far as us running a Flames War or Team Yankee, probably not. That's a big commitment.
That seems like a lot at a con like that.
That's a big commitment. But the Bolt Action, so it was supposed to be 30 players, and then it turned into 40, and then it turned into a Nationals, and then it turned to 38, 3 rounds. Really, originally it was supposed to be 3 hours at 1775, and then it dropped to 2.5, and the stipulation was 1 rifle platoon, and then 1 armored platoon up to what?
775.
It was the men, I think, right?
Yes.
And then anything else in between. So it was pretty varied. I went 2 rounds, and the 3rd round I went halfway through and conceded, which I'll go over a little bit later. And then I went 1 win, 1 draw, and 1 loss. What did you end up doing that day?
We completed all the games, at least to my satisfaction. Well, satisfaction may be the wrong word, given that I went 1 and 2, but we got far enough into each of the games that if they were to do a bonus points or secondary objectives for getting to the end of the game, I think I could have reasonably accomplished that. Props to the tournament organizers for handling the changes very well. The packet was great.
Yeah.
The pre-game or pre-tournament briefing was good. They were quick on the rules.
Yeah, they were. If they made a decision, all the TOs were on agreement. Even if the decision I didn't agree with, like my brain and burgers, which I'll go over, caused a lot of heartburn whenever they were there.
Yeah.
Ugh. But yeah, they because he thought they were going to have a 30-man tournament. Mike did, and then he come into 40 per person the day of. He has a lot of stuff going on in his personal life, so he couldn't really watch the Facebook and the event organizer page, so to speak. But I guess you want to go over your round 1, and I'll go over like my round 1 was really quick actually.
Okay.
I played an 8 dice list.
8
but
dice, jeez.
if you want to go over yours first.
Yeah, round 1 was the key positions
Okay.
mission, as I recall. and I was against Germans. I was out order dice with my 15. I think I was up against an 18 dice German list with 5 Panzer IIIs.
Oof.
A lot of transports. Very well painted list. Looked very good.
It seemed 15 was like the standard across a lot of armies that were there that day.
I ran into 2 that were higher and 1 that was lower. So
really?
I was outdiced in the 2 that I lost, which speaks to the current meta.
Okay.
Is the dice count is the key.
Okay.
I didn't put anything in outflank, even though that was a rule, and I should have made use of it. But with that much, they were DACA Panther IIIs, so.
Oh, the extra coax.
Yes, they were loaded and ready to go, and he had a good brace of infantry to back him up, some field guns, including an AA gun. My air observer got to call in one strike that got driven off, and then he promptly got annihilated.
Ugh. A lot of people were gunning for air observers. It seemed like because there was a boogeyman list which didn't show up. Like I don't think anyone was running 2 air observers that I talked to, but
mainly it was the dice. I had 6 hits on the squad on the center objective. He was in soft cover. He made all 6 saves on the 6 surviving guys. Very next activation was one of mine. I foobarred and lost an M10 because of it.
Oh no!
And then I assaulted those guys on the objective with 5 veterans. They were 6 regulars. It went 2 rounds. I won with 1 guy left in my squad.
Oh.
And that was, his squad was there were 6 regulars at the time of the assault with 1 tough fighter. Mine was 5 veterans, all tough fighter. So the dice, I apparently didn't do enough rituals beforehand for all of the games. I got a good lesson on how the control of an objective works, because I didn't go into it with quite the understanding I should have.
It's kind of changed. Like you control it at the end of your activation, for my understanding, and you can't have an enemy unit within 4 inches.
3.
Is it 3 or 4? 3 or 3? I think 3 or 4 inches. I think it's 3 inches. So like even if you, so basically, if what my understanding is right, if you go on the objective and you end your activation on it, but there's someone blocking you from it, and you somehow wipe them out, you still don't own the objective.
Yes, and that was the lesson I needed to learn. So I wiped out his squad in close combat, but he had a transport with an officer sitting right behind it, and so I couldn't flip it because it was within contesting range. And vehicles can contest, but not take.
Right, and if it was manned, because the officer, they occupied transports count.
Yes.
Which is something was actually in the FAQ.
Yes.
It was argued that they couldn't hit have boots on the ground, which okay, I get it.
It kind of makes sense to me that an occupied transport would.
Yeah.
So I agree with Warlord's call on that one.
I kind of feel that if you have more guys at the end of an activation, you should control the objective. But that's how they have it set up right now. And it is wonky for those who don't know. And like you literally have to like double punch units off of stuff now. If not, like that's rough.
He was contesting one of mine because my armored infantry was gone to ground. Well, they were down, but not quite enough for cover on one of my home objectives, so I started to lose control of that one later, and by that point I was down pretty sharply in dice, what with casualties to everybody.
Them DACA Panzers are no joke. 12 shots because of Hitler's buzzsaw. I was running one, and they're not, even though they're armor 8, they're nothing to sneeze at.
No, and M10s can't do anything if they can't hit. And the pins you can do with machine guns on open top did come into play in every game, which was my primary concern going in. But it was a thematic list for a good event.
Yeah, but normally Mike runs really thematic lists. Like mine was the Doc. You took the M10 Destroyer Platoon and mechanized infantry.
Yep.
Like completely thematic, historical. So like,
really, other thoughts on that was just really the order dice, which I was kind of waffling between taking Italians with 22 dice, but
it's hard to get the armored up for the Italians, though.
Oh no, I
No?
had the armor.
You had the armor?
I had the armor. It was just, I didn't want to run 22 dice because of the time limit.
Yeah.
I'm looking to complete games.
Yeah.
And that's where I also kind of messed myself up with trying to play fast.
Yeah. It's rough because my first game, a guy had 8 dice list. He had, and I misspoke in the video, they were IS2s, not IS3s. He had 3 IS2s and an IS or 100. It's the big heavy tank destroyer with a 100 millimeter barrel or 122 millimeter barrel. And he had 2 squads of infantry and an officer. He had 8 dice total. And I had 21 dice. And yeah, everything in his was, I didn't have anything in outflank, everything went in the board. And everything in his was regular, even the armored vehicles. And honestly, the great guy's name was Joe. Good game. Turn 1, my Tiger rolls on. 1 shots in the IS-2 right through the side. Panzer Ace is broke. Like, it's not broken because it's kind of expensive because no one takes veterans, but I took a veteran Tiger.
It carries its weight sometimes.
Oh, it paid for itself. The Tiger during the tournament actually feasted. I never lost it once. I knocked out a ton of infantry and like 4 vehicles with it. 3 armored vehicles. That game alone, 2 of them. I knocked out an IS-2 and the IS-100, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But he only had 8 dice, and once he started taking casualties, I played real aggressive, and my anti-tank rifles and mortars were shooting him, and he couldn't keep his tank still, because once he stood still, I'd just start ranging in with my mortars. And as soon as I ranged in, I got lucky, bonus pin, 2 pins. I'm not hurting him, but I'm putting pins on him, and next thing you know, he's failing order checks, and he has to rally. If he rallies, then he's sitting still again. I'm just hitting you with a mortar round. So my strategy kind of worked with the anti-tank rifles and the mortars. So I ended up taking 4 of the 5 objectives. But like, I mean, 21 dice against 8's really gross.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you had the dice count opponents that I was looking for.
Yeah.
And I was getting the dice count opponents that you needed.
Yeah, like it was...
And that's not the fault of anybody, nor was that a choice they made. That was just luck of the draw.
Yeah.
And so, but it was... first 2 rounds of mine were red versus blue.
All 3 of mine were red versus blue, actually.
That's good.
Because that game I ended up winning. Then going to round 2, I faced another Soviet player, and he had 15 order dice. His name was Greg. Shout out Greg. It ended up that was the kill points mission.
Yes.
And it was fog of war, so you could come from any which way. Which I kind of think they should have went back to the old version of, which you can't come from the same side someone else is coming on. But hey, whatever, new edition, it changes. Me and him played. This is where my Brandenburgers came in, and he was very salty for a little bit, and I understand it. They are broken. They're expensive. First thing, it causes IS-2 for, I think, 2 to 3 turns not to come on by 1. So, Brandenburgers, it's another -1 to your test coming on the board from reserve. So all of a sudden, unless you're Americans, you're taking a -2. And if you're taking regular vehicles, that's pretty bad.
That is very bad.
And so his IS-2 was off the board effectively just from that. Then his T-34 took another whole nother turn to get on early. And I just couldn't kill dice. He killed some dice. It was 5-5. He killed 5, I destroyed 5. It was a draw. We ended up finishing the game. I felt bad because he called him cheese. He's like, those guys are cheese, and I get it. I had to bring him for the tournament.
They're good, though.
Yeah, they're really good. The only kind of thing that the TO had ruled was if they have to be on the board for all their abilities to work. But they have a rule for outflank to get a +1 to outflank, which I don't think applies for reserves whenever it's like confused fighting, unless you're coming in on the side.
Mm-hmm.
But I use them just for the reserve rule, which kind of bit me in the 3rd mission. There was no reserves apparently, or I don't know. I might have read the rules wrong. My 3rd game was a little more hotly contested, but that game was a draw for my 2nd round. And luckily, me and Greg come to an understanding. He was a really good opponent, and then I told him I only play as guys for tournaments or I'm training up for tournaments. The fabricators F you to Bilderberg. I was like, well, we only practice for tournaments. Me and you play, and he's.
I went up against them 3 times before the event. And let me tell you, they are a very good squad.
Yeah.
If I were to run Germans, I'd be hard pressed not to be that guy that brings them to everything.
They're so good not to, just for the shenanigans they pull.
Yes.
But the TO also ruled that if they were wiped out, all the rules fall off. And the community's pretty divided. In our local group, when I do play them, when we practice, if the squad gets wiped out, I say everything falls away. And tell us what you guys think, because they are kind of a contested unit right now. A lot of people do run like a little 5-pack of them, it sounds like, just for their shenanigans.
Yeah, and it makes sense, though. If a unit is destroyed, it should not be having that effect.
Right.
But you could make the argument that they laid all these traps,
right, and just
other sabotage.
Right, just the thought of them still being around.
Yeah.
Which, again, do we need an official FAQ? Maybe if they keep showing up.
Yeah.
But every group seems to play them differently, and I only play them for tournaments. I don't like playing them for casual games because they're definitely not a feel-goods unit. At all.
Is there a Scorzani? I don't play any of the Germans at Bolt Action. Is there a Scorzani type unit that operates similarly?
Well, that's who they are.
But that is what they're representing?
The Brandenburgers were German special forces in World War II, and most famously, they were with the Scorzani raid during the Battle of the Bulge.
Okay.
So the guys dressed like GIs that moved the road signs just as MPs. That's what one of the most famous they're known for. They did a number of crazy missions, and since I was running my doc, I read a story to where they were involved in the insurgency in Iraq in World War II. Great piece of history. There was a group of them camped out near Gibraltar, dressed as Bedouins, living like Bedouins for months, reporting on the British shipping, going through the Gibraltar Gap. So, henceforth, I was like, these definitely fit the theme.
Absolutely. I didn't realize that they were one and the same. To me, they were distinct variations.
Well, yeah,
distinct units,
right. That's what they were So that's what they're most famously known for, is the Battle of the Bulge, and henceforth the sabotage and stuff like that. Yeah.
So you could see historically or thematically, to put it in the proper way, because they would have an effect beyond their existence.
Well, and like I said, they definitely in that game. It didn't lose me the game, but I didn't lose it because of them, honestly. Mm-hmm. It kept the IS-2 out long enough to where once he did become onto the field with it, my Tiger was in a safe enough spot. You weren't going to roll up on me without having cover in the way.
Yeah.
And then I had enough anti-tank rifles sprinkled left that were still alive on ambush. If it did roll on the board, I was going to put a round into it. Hopefully put a pin on it. And then when it shoots, it messes its shooting up.
AT rifles, I think, are still kind of undervalued for that ability alone. And
for the amount of people who didn't take veteran vehicles that weren't German, the anti-tank rifles definitely had a place. Yes. And they actually knocked out a couple of light trucks through the whole day of gaming.
Yeah, that's the other thing. They can long range pick off soft skins. Mm-hmm. They are great at just blowing up observers, sniper teams.
Yep.
I mean, there's no better sniper rifle than a elephant gun.
Right, and they're +2 pen, so most of the time you're killing dudes on 2s.
And that doesn't degrade over range to take a long range shot.
Absolutely not. And like I said, that's what I was doing for hard vehicles that I couldn't have an answer with. I was just shooting with a rifle and dropping a mortar on them. Mm-hmm. But that was my game. Like I said, it was a good game. I ended up going 5-5. I couldn't kill one of his T-34 85s. I just pinned the crap out of it, just couldn't seal the deal, kept stunning it. And then one of his heavy mortar teams, I opened up with an autocannon. 2 hits, autocannon, 4 hits on all 4 guys. Needing 3s to wound. Roll 4 dice. I roll 1 3 and all 2s.
Oh no.
And then 1 pin. You know what I mean? And then I fired again and missed. At point blank range, I missed. And then the IS-2 decides to come over and mess with my dude. Luckily, I had enough of a recce move. I was able to get out of dodge, and he couldn't shoot me at point blank range with the IS-2. But that was a good game. That was my draw, the second game of the day, and that was after lunch. I think lunch was after the first round.
Was after first round. Good, you know, the hotel, the convention center provides very good, very reasonable.
Compared to a lot of other events I've
Yeah.
been to, people were complaining it was $4 for a can of pop. I mean, I brought my own. You know, I had bottles. I would buy theirs, but compared to some places, I still remember 2009 Adepticon. It was like $8 for a.
Say go to a sports event or a concert, you're going to pay triple that.
And the nice part about them too at the hotel, they've learned they accept cash. I know there's a lot of cons that still want card now; they're cashless. But so they wanted cash, which was nice.
Yeah.
'Cause that was my round 2 for the day.
Round 2, another round against Germans. This one was a more late war themed list. 2 veteran Panthers, the half track with the auto cannons on it.
Oh, the driller.
Yes.
The driller.
And then the 2-man flamethrower teams that are one shots.
Oh, the
2 of those.
Oof.
A lot of smaller squads. So again, I was outdiced. I think he had right around 18 or so. Got my first and only vehicle kill of the tournament when one of my M10s took 2 rounds to blow up the autocannon half track.
Oh no!
And but that was only after it had managed to land 2 hits on my lone man FO, who really just kind of died to 2 autocannon shells landing on him.
There was a ruling with the driller that you said, like, because of the number of hits, how the TO ruled it.
Yes, he landed 2 hits, and so each hit was counted as an individual template that was placed over the FO because it was a single man team, a single man unit. And so it was considered to be like, it wasn't. He rolled 4 dice or however many dice, landed 2 hits. Each one landed a template on the observer, and so I had 2 cover saves, but without going down because I wanted to activate him. He was, I don't make 3-ups.
Yeah, I kind of disagree with the TO's ruling, and I want to say there's a rule that if you do template hits to a unit, it maxes out the number of guys. So if there's 8 dudes and you hit them with enough templates, it does 8 hits total. Then it caps out at 8.
So it would have only been 1 hit.
That's how I look at that rule, because like I don't know that's how the rule reads. Like if you can't do any more hits than the number of guys. I could be thinking of that wrong. Because I know that was a big thing in 2nd edition. I think it's the same in 3rd. You can't do any more hits than the number of guys.
Yeah, we were uncertain enough that we decided to go right to the TO's opinion rather than trying to eat up the clock and, try and figure it out between us. That I said, you know what, let's just solve this the easy way. He made the ruling, that was fine, and we carried on playing.
Yeah.
Probably the worst dice luck of that game was when my M10 came up behind a loaded transport. Now this is a kill dice mission, so I'm sitting there thinking I'm about to feast.
Oh, yeah.
I've got point blank rear armor on a loaded half track with an M10 Wolverine.
Oof.
I hit the thing. That alone was a bonus.
Right.
I armor penned it. I'm sitting happy now. Overpen. 2 chances to kill it.
Oh no.
Double crew stunned.
That's the worst.
Pins on the vehicle, the guys can jump out, and they absolutely nuked me. And
they should have at least 2 pins apiece, right?
They did, but you have an officer in there. Yep.
The officer.
Yep. Oh yeah, and I mean I benefited from my officers as often as he did, as often as all of my opponents did, but rolling a pair of 1s on an overpen on a half, so basically that. What is that, a 3-inch A gun mounted on the M10 against the rear of an SD Cam Z, and all they got was their bells rung.
That's the worst.
And then I had my plucky little Greyhound command car, got behind a Panther. It's a bit of a disagreement about how the Panther armor values work. So I was advised it was 10 all around when they are only 10 to the front. One thing I would like to either see clarified in an FAQ or just set out as a general procedure is how you determine the armor penetration. Because I've seen it done where you subtract if you're on the flank or rear from their armor value. And for myself, how I read it is you add that value to the die roll for the armor pen. So base 6, roll a 5. If you're in the rear, add 2 against their full value rather than working down and up.
I think we do it correct where you apply the bonus to your penetration value.
It's cleaner, it's less confused because you're not moving 2 charts 2 different ways.
No.
And
I don't know why people want to do it that other way where they're minusing off of their armor. That makes no sense.
I mean, otherwise it was a good game. That Panther would have been, it turned it in from a pen to a superficial because it was just that one swing, and that would have potentially moved it from a loss to a draw.
Yeah.
But at that point it was late enough in the game that if I didn't kill that, I was going to get smacked somewhere else because I was down. I had lost 7 at that point. He had only lost 5. So that would have, you had to have 2.
You had to win by at least 2.
Yes, so that could have moved it, could have, and I acknowledge that the dice probably weren't going to favor me.
So for the we're still good. So when it comes to the Panther, it has reinforced frontal armor. So from the front, it counts as 10.
Yes.
All around, like the side, rear, if you get into those arcs, it counts as a 9 because it's a 9 tank. That also applies for if you're hitting it indirectly.
Yes, you wouldn't get that plus.
You wouldn't get the plus unless you're firing a howitzer directly, but indirect you would also get the 9.
Would negate the reinforced front. Now it was a light AT gun, absolute Hail Mary play. There were 109 reasons it should have worked. And the fact that it came that close, and I was very clear in my question of what is the armor value. And
right. Well,
I don't play the Germans personally, at least as of today.
Yeah.
So I fully profess that is an area I could have paid more attention to when I saw the list.
Well,
looked it up myself.
You figure 4 for a light anti-tank.
Yep.
Point blank goes you to a 5.
Yep.
And then rear takes you to a 7.
Yes. So I'm needing a 2 to equal
3 to pen. So like it's very, very doable now.
Yes.
At that closer range. Now does he only have 1 veteran Panther?
No, he had 2. And
so how do you have 2 veteran Panthers? Or no, I mean Panzer Ace. I'm sorry, Panzer Ace guys.
He did have Panzer Ace on one of them.
Okay, because that was my next question. Because you can only give Panzer Ace to 1.
Yeah, his
tank in your force.
Commander had Panzer Ace, and it killed AM-10 that I had brought in behind the drilling to kill.
Okay.
On that side, and that's another area when those missions. Yeah, it's fun to come in from 8 different directions, but the maximum of concentration of force should never be ignored. And I ignore that all the time.
I feel, even though it's a fun mission going from every direction, I do feel in a tournament environment, especially that heavy of people with 40 people, that mission gets out of control because then all of a sudden, like, you have to try to get around to the other side of the person's table or really trust them. Now, when I played Greg, most of the time, me and him would just, hey, place him here roughly.
Yep.
And only at one point did he have to come across and like place out. He had a submachine gun unit pop on my side and let loose and literally decimated one of my anti-tank rifle teams. But we want him spaced out proper way because I have a Tiger sitting right there. Now, granted, the Tiger's template would have covered them all anyway, but you know why get the chance?
Yeah, and we played very much the same where I said, hey, that M10's coming in over there, and I said right about there, and he set it up.
Yeah.
I said that's good.
Yeah.
He put a couple of vehicles on my side. It was only when, in the similar vein, when the infantry were jumping out, where spacing can get important, and I have no problem with them coming around. I don't consider that a statement against in any way.
No.
That's just wanting to make sure you're doing it the way you want it done.
Right. It just, I think, the reason I even bring it up is not as a slight to us as the players, but certainly. To like, just slows down the game.
Yes.
And there was a couple sections of tables, you had to go at least like pretty far out to come around and then set up and then come clear back out around.
Yeah.
And luckily, the day we were doing the bolt action tournament, I think the El Gros tournament, the Ancients, was over or not started yet, so we had plenty of room.
Yes.
But if we're at another venue or if there was more stuff happening, that'd be pretty hard to move around.
Yeah, that's one where if you don't have independent tables for each board, you are going to run into issues with people trying to hoof it around.
Yeah.
Collisions, tripped over carts.
Is it fun, especially for narrative? Absolutely.
Yes.
And Mike runs his games to be more narrative fun. And that's the reason he didn't want it. That's why he didn't want it as a nationals. And kind of Warlord made it a nationals, and it brought people that he didn't like to have at his events, the sweatier players. And there was a few sweaty players. Apparently, not too much with us, but there's a couple players that got kicked out of the tournament, which rarely happens at Historicon.
Don't typically see that on any historical wargaming. We tend to be a pretty
laid back
crowd. I wouldn't say reasonable to group, but we
Well,
are generally
yeah.
good
There's a couple players that we play locally. Once in a while, they get kind of sweaty, but like Mike was gonna toss him out of the tournament. I was like, wow, that rarely happens.
Yeah, that's something you hope that you don't see.
Ugh.
But yeah, there was for disputes, not a lot really that I could have said. The armor value thing may have been a miscommunication. I'll give him the benefit of a doubt. I don't believe it was intentional. In game one, there was generally proper use of the measuring tape, except for in a couple instances where it wasn't blatantly pre-measuring.
Yeah.
I will say that, as much as the games didn't go my way, I feel that my opponents played, well, they may have different regional dialects for the rules. We were generally playing bolt action.
That's something I did notice. Besides, and you always have as a major events like this, people play differently in certain regions. And this will come up in my third game, especially. And
heavy foreshadowing is heavy.
Oh man, it's real. And to be fair, my opponent was a cool guy. Talking to him afterwards, but it was definitely a greasy game. I just didn't enjoy the game. I'll get into it. But anyway, the other thing I noticed too was the lack of people knowing the new FAQ. That came up in one of our games, and I had to pull it up on my phone and show it to a couple other people playing. And they're like, oh, we had no idea that was, so the FAQ lack of was weird.
Yeah. A little surprising, given that Warlord is very good about when they announce it. It hits all the channels, Reddit, Discords, the Facebook groups, and they're certainly not voluminous.
No.
At this stage of the edition. Right.
I do agree that an FAQ should have a deadline. Like, if it comes out this time before an event, there should be some sort of cool-off period. Like, if FAQ comes out 2 weeks or a week before the event, then we won't use that FAQ, because especially if it deals with point-changing points. And I know I might catch flack for that, because some people want the newest, but it's kind of hard, especially when you have points adjustments a lot of times.
A reasonable cutoff being the beginning of the month of the event, if it's anywhere towards the first half, if not three-quarters.
And let's be honest, the companies, whether they be GW or Warlords, they're not beholden to make sure that their FAQs come out to coincide with events.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I get that. It's something that should be maybe thought of in advance in tournament packs. But so how was your third game? You ended up playing one of our local. I say with air quotes.
Yeah, local enough.
Local.
I was very happy to have a good friendly matchup with him. He's a great player that I like to play from up Erie, and it was American. He had paratroopers, and I actually had an advantage in order dice, which was a heady feeling.
Oh, how many was Chris running?
He had veteran paratroopers with 2 Shermans, so he only had 9 or 10.
Wow.
And that was a get off the other side, so breakthrough. With preparatory bombardment.
Yes. I have feelings on that one.
The preparatory bombardment, for my side, did not go badly. I pretty much started everything on the table. I'm like, you know what? I put a lot of units in transports. I figure I'll at least count on the fact that if there is a 6, hopefully it's not a transport, and that's less chances to roll. He started with a lot on the table, and that was when the dice decided to be hot. So I think I hit 3 of his units directly in the bombardment.
Oh my goodness!
Killed a medic.
Oh no!
So I said, well, there's Geneva.
Well, yeah. He couldn't get off the board anyway.
Yeah, that, he wouldn't have counted for points.
Yeah, we learned that the hard way in some of our test games.
And immobilized a scout car.
That's really big.
Yeah, that was a rough one. And then pinned a Sherman, and yeah, that was directed on the Sherman. I might have actually got 4 hits because I think I also hit a machine gun too.
Oh wow!
Yeah, I had my prep bombardment was it was on its A game that time. I didn't have any FUBARs. He had unfortunately 4.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, the dice gods definitely said no.
Yeah.
Your time in the shade is over. You're
yeah. Okay.
So,
the sun was shining upon you.
yes, my M10, my meat chopper was immobilized, but it was in a good spot. It was in some cover, so it could just keep shooting without any real threat.
I'm surprised it didn't do better all day.
That first game, when I landed those 6 hits on the 6 dudes on the objective, that was the meat chopper's work. And much like with your guys, what was your infiltrators in our practice game?
My 5th column guys I never even mentioned, my little terrorizers.
Yeah, they, much like how your guys survived that, his guys survived it. So apparently my meat chopper must have loaded paintballs instead of actual ammunition.
That thing terrifies me, just the amount of firepower it can throw.
It was throwing, but it was not doing much of anything.
Ugh.
But I was able to get a loaded half-track off and another half-track with 1 transport into his DZ along with my Greyhound off using the recce rule.
Okay.
Because it would carry me into cover.
Yeah.
So I just kept right on going down the road.
Yep.
And
Nice.
so the the platoon commander for the vehicles went, I'm good, and was off the board. So,
oh, yeah.
He got 1 unit off, if I'm recalling correctly, and would have gotten another into the deployment zone if we had played the bonus round.
Okay.
Maybe have gotten a 2nd off, but by that point I'd gotten 5 or 4 off.
Okay.
Including the company commander and his transport. So even he was like, nah, I'm good.
Nice.
Got my regular armored infantry got eaten up in close combat on a surprise charge from his paratroopers.
Oof.
But that was to be expected.
Yeah.
You don't assault paratroopers.
No.
You don't assault them, you don't get assaulted by them. You will lose easily.
Was he running the close combat guys, like a bunch of submachine guns and stuff?
I think they were pretty balanced kit.
Okay.
I do not remember the specifics, Chris. I'm sorry.
Paratroopers are just nasty.
We were both laughing all the way through it.
But I thought you guys were having a good time. I looked down there, with bitter beer face, and I see you laughing. I'm like, well, at least someone's having a good time.
Yeah, that kind of was nice recovery of the spirits too.
Yeah.
To have a good close game like that, because it was close until I got the first half check off.
Yeah.
It is a good defensive position. He drove off my airstrike with his 50 cals on his Shermans because he had a 105 Sherman and a regular Sherman.
Ooh, that's a nice little change up. Most people don't take the 105.
The 105 was kind of nasty. It hit my Rangers really bad.
It throws a 3-inch template, right?
Yeah. My Rangers were feeling that for quite a bit.
Fun fact, you can actually indirect with that with a swatter. Mm-hmm. And it still has the medium range, but you can indirect with that if you really wanted to.
Yeah, it's definitely given me thought to putting a long tom in the gun motor carriage on the table.
Ooh,
as an American toy, but yeah, that was again no vehicle kills aside from the immobilization. Oh no, the scout car that was immobilized of his kept pestering my M10s until finally I leveled it.
Yeah,
I think 4 turns in.
Oh geez,
I was shooting at it.
Oh wow,
because it kept putting pins on my M10s because they're open topped and they're regulars.
And we knew going in that would be excuse me, bad beer, fart, burp, I don't know, awesome video, but we knew that was going into it would be bad because of the open topness.
Everything in my list was open topped, and that did come into play.
Yeah.
The American radio rule, though, the modern communications did help in every mission that I had.
That's good.
But by and large, it was a great game. Air Observer again did nothing, and I kind of expected that going in. When you have that many vehicles, you're going to have Pintles.
Yeah,
and they're going to drive off your air pretty easily.
Yeah, I think the Boogeyman list that is the multiple air observers for US, I think was just like a flash in the pan, and like people have learned how to deal with that because like it is super powerful. If you can get the airstrikes to come in, that is.
But your German players are running the drilling or other flak vehicles with a
ton
lot
of AA
cannons. Your American players have their meat choppers. Pretty much everybody's running them.
Yep.
And if they're not, you've got Pinto MGs for days.
Well, my snipers actually did fairly well during the event. Like I took out spotters. I took out a couple officers through the day. Like they were doing what they were supposed to do, and it's weird because no one else. My third opponent, he had a sniper, but he loaded up in a truck, which I'll go over. But yeah, my snipers were doing good all day.
I think another underrated part of it is that at the very worst, they're a relatively low-cost order dice that can mess with. If you can hit a company commander, that's now no more snap twos.
Yeah,
that's now no more morale bonus. Now it's not the morale penalty. But
they got rid of they got rid of the penalty that was in second edition, which I totally understand.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
But I mean, in an edition where you're going to have 4 officers on average in an army list, even at 1250, the sniper has targets.
Yeah,
and I think they will, I should say, come back in.
I used him to poke out the eyes of a couple mortar teams that I had it up against, to cover the spotter, and okay, unless you move into the line of sight, you can't fire your mortar now, or you have to keep ranging in if I don't move. So you ended up winning that third game.
Yes, it ended up being a clean victory.
That's good.
Like I said, great opponent. Always, no matter the game, I always enjoy playing him, and he is a very quality opponent.
Oh yeah,
so it was definitely a test of skill. It's all of my matches.
Yeah. I didn't even know he was there until later on. Like a few people that we see every so often were there because there was that many folks. It was like there was a lot of people, and then there was folks that you see from other years past. I run a couple guys, Mike. We run into some fans. Like I said, Sean was there. Another Michael guy from Maryland. He's talking about putting on an event. I'm gonna maybe try to go down there for it. So my third one I lost. Now, granted, I could see it third turn. And it was, the player was foreign, not a bad guy. I think there was a bit of a language barrier at times, or it seemed like there was. And there was a lot of rules issues. One, because he's a newer player to bolt action, he says. And things, how they rule their games is way different. Like, I guess, where they're from, a sniper or an officer always gets cover. That's not the case with snipers. Sniper gets rid of your cover. That was a thing. There was some sloppy movement, and then there was he's coming from a game system that pre-measures, and he went to pre-measure the board. I said, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh, I got to see where halfway is." I was like, "No, that's pre-measuring. You can only see the 12, your ETZ." And I sounded a little bit dickish when I said it, but I was like, "What are you doing?" You know. But then we played. Like I said, there's some discrepancies. There's takes backsies on both sides, and a little bit that I did feel was the language barrier because of the rules. I like to think that more than it being malicious, because it's already been said that translating from English to other languages sometimes it does get lost in translation, certain things, and then he's coming from a different system for one. Other than that, he ended up getting an armored car off the board with some guys inside of it. The only thing that was kind of solace is I killed one of his officers, and my Tiger killed a Firefly in a duel, basically.
They're reenacting, they're changing the ending to
Fury. we totally changed Fury. He missed, and Panzer Ace punched through the front. Then he had a grant, but it wasn't a veteran grant. Apparently the British can't take the veteran one as of yet with the book. Because the British players, even though their books coming out, he had to use the big rule book British. So he said that he couldn't take veteran with it. I'm like, okay, and maybe he can or can't. I just know that my 222 owned that thing. I kept shooting it, and I kept putting pins on it, and Grant couldn't do anything with all of its guns. So like I effectively like had it stuck in some woods, and I'm just like shooting at it with like a crummy armored car.
Now, was this the Grant? So this was a Grant, so it didn't have the topmost turret.
It did. It did. And I think they called it the Lee. I think the British called it the Lee.
Yeah, I'm never sure of the exact designation. That's what I was going to ask. So you effectively neutralized a 3-weapon system.
Yeah.
With an armored car, and that's the weakness of regular, or perhaps the strength of armored cars, but the weakness of regular vehicles.
Yeah. Like I couldn't hurt it from the front, but I could put pins on it.
Yep.
And then we messed up on the rules. I feel for some reason when I was reading the thing, I thought there was no reserves, so I didn't put anything on reserve, which I should have. And then I left one of my armored cars off the table because like there was so much going on. Preliminary bombardment kind of raped me.
Oh.
So we both roll, and he has 15 dice. And this is where the dice went cold. So a lot of his units I put 1 pin on, and he's rolling for 20 units of mine. And 2 of my units disappeared. An anti-tank rifle team and a mortar team disappeared. Everybody else took like 2 pins. My command squad was got disappeared. My Tiger took 2 pins. And that's probably with running a bunch of dice. The chances of rolling a 6 become really great.
Yeah.
So most of my army was pinned. Marked out my armor. In fact, turn 2, my truck got blew up. You know what I mean? Lucky shot. And then what didn't help, and it wasn't any of our faults, the board had like a line of just ruins and craters, and there was literally only like 3 little spots that most vehicles wouldn't fit through. So like, I had a lot of wheeled vehicles in my army, right? With 2 of them. No, 3 of them actually. The truck and the 2 armored cars. So like, my 8 rad and my 222 could make it, but that Italian truck was just a hair wide enough to where if I did get to the gap, I couldn't make it through. So like, he ended up getting a truck off the board, and we had a little bit of a argument about like ambush and recce and stuff. And then afterwards, me and him were talking, and you know, he friended me on Facebook, so it's official. We're friends.
Burying all that.
Yeah, we buried it.
Stuff is buried.
Yeah, we buried it. Like, that's official. But like, it was just one of those things where like, and I think it was. I like to think part of it was
just the communication.
The communications. So you have to be patient with other people, and like, should I have probably conceded? No, but he already had 4 units off the board because of that, so that's 12 points.
If you're down on vehicles or your vehicles are needed, that's a hard thing to come back.
And now, I was killing a crap ton of his stuff. Like believe it or not, my 5-man terrorist unit of 5th column guys survived all 3 games.
They survived all the games, I think, against me.
Yeah, they survived all 3. And in one instance, he had some British paras come up. They shoot at them, and this is a rules thing for you guys to remember at home. He had to call over a judge because he wasn't sure. So if you're at point blank range and you go down, or if you're down at point blank range, you lose the down bonus. What you don't lose, you still get your cover. If you have infiltrator still applies.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, I'm in a crater, which is a 4, and I'm down. Even though he's a point blank range, I have a 3-up cover save. He's winning me on 2s, no problem. And I go ahead and just make all my saves.
Spiked it.
Yep. Then next turn, I pass my leadership, and I shoot a bunch of pistols at some paras and drop 2 paras. But
who knew?
Dice.
Yep, dice.
But it was a rough game overall. But I ended up leaving, so I had like an hour left. But I went and did some shopping, got some food, stuff like that, and then me and him talked for a while. Other than that, that was my 3rd game. So I went 1-1-1.
That was my results last year. I couldn't quite get the defeat. 1 and 2, but I'd say overall it was well run. As I said at the top, it's well run event.
Yeah,
Players were very clear about the expectations.
Yeah,
we had the good chat session with Warlord for a little bit there. I got to voice my opinion on the rule on driving off airplanes.
We kind of bled that dude's ear. I forget his name, but he was a Warlord rep, and we kind of gave him both barrels with some stuff.
Had some fun with that,
but he was cool all in all. He took it on the chin like a champ.
Well,
like we're just like, and another thing.
I don't think it was quite that bad, but
well, he felt that way.
Yes.
He felt that way.
He was very much a good representative for the company as a whole, and would I like to see it change from just a straight 5-4-3 to a morale check to hold fire? Yeah. Would it benefit me in really any game? Probably not. Because regulars are probably still going to fail it.
I would also like, and it would be simple FAQ, 3 hits to drive off any aircraft of any kind of hit, mind you. That's so little. Mm-hmm. I almost feel that there should be one step. And tell us what you guys think. You know what I mean? I think after you see the aircraft survives its AA hits, which is ridiculously easy to knock down, I think you should roll for what kind it is, and on what kind of aircraft, whether it be a fighter, fighter bomber, fighter attack. I think that should base the number of hits. I think that's what should be determined. Like, okay, I have a fighter bomber coming in, maybe it's 6 hits, you know what I mean, or maybe 5 hits or something. Like, make it. It was obviously heavier attack aircraft. That's the reason the Germans went from 20 mil to 30, because Allied aircraft were getting so heavy and so heavily armed, the 20 wasn't doing it anymore.
There's a world of difference between a Zero, a Corsair, and a Lightning. You've got 3 very different survivability ranges of aircraft. Well, I love my Corsairs, but a Lightning's 9 times out of 10 going to come home before the Corsair will.
Even a late war Stuka was hard, or the IL, the Stormovic, holy moly, or the P-47 Thunderbolt, the flying juggernaut. Like, half the engine would be shot off and fly home. So, like, I kind of think that should be another step. I think aircraft are still in a good spot, but, like, now they're so easy to shoot down with 3 hits.
And you could even do national specifics. You know, maybe the Japanese Zero, if you go with the fighter, it gets driven off easier. But then if you roll up to a ground attack aircraft,
a Betty maybe or something.
Yeah.
Like
it's
a medium bomber.
Harder to drive off. For the Germans, you'd have Messerschmitt 109, which is their engines are kind of damageable. Yeah. All the way up to the HS 129, I believe it was.
Oh yeah. So there's definitely a lot of stuff you could do. As far as tournament, I think it was run good. My only kind of 2 criticisms, and it's not a bad criticism on Mike or any of the guys running it. That gaming group's really solid. I think they're at a Cole Township, PA.
Not sure.
If someone knows, I'm sure someone does, because like it feels like a lot of guys that are subscribers of the channel were at the event with us. But regardless, I think Plymouth Bombardment, honestly, it's still a controversial rule. I don't like it in tournaments. I see why it's there for thematic. And again, to be frank, Mike was gearing the game more for thematic than competitive. Like, so Plymouth Bombardment and thematic works, but competitive not so much. And then the Fog of War.
Yeah,
I think
Fog of War is a weird one.
And I took complete advantage of Fog of War against my opponent Greg. Like, you get a test to. I took full advantage of that.
I tried, and while the dice didn't always work out, I was generally able to get I was able to get my units where they needed to be, and I suffered from it just as much. But I think unless you have a preponderance of units in cover, and the tables were very good.
Always good
very
tables.
Balanced in terms of.
They had to scramble to get some extra tables, actually.
Yeah.
And I think Charles, one of the other guys in our group who runs tournaments, I think he helped provide tables. I'm not 100% sure. Like, shout out to. They made the event work. Like I said, we're not bashing it at all. We're just giving a couple critiques.
Yeah, the tables were all they were evenly laid out. There was one city board that I did not have the pleasure of fighting on, but looked like it would have been a madhouse with all the vehicles.
Oh, it was a
Stalingrad looking table.
It would have been gross.
But there was good line of sight blocking. There were hills.
Yeah.
There were the streams. You had ruins.
Yeah, there was nothing that was like questionable what this is.
There was no oasis table where you just shot across the entire table.
Yeah.
There was no, unblocked roads.
Right.
The whole length, with probably one or two exceptions, but that's going to happen.
Yeah, it was good overall. Like I said, it's always a good time going.
Mm-hmm.
People have already asking what the theme is for next year. I just laugh. I'm like, dude, this is literally 2 weeks, not even after Historicon.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to do something different. The 70-75 points was
interesting.
It was on the higher side of any event I've seen. It worked out with the armored requirements. You didn't see the 5 Polish tankettes or the 5 L640s.
Yeah, the spam. I have heard that they want to do a conflict event. Excuse me, at Historicon. Mm-hmm. I'm not sure who's going to run that. I would definitely be down to go. I pre-ordered a bunch of stuff. I got the one German bundle. I got a rule book. I got starter. I'm a little bit heavy on pre-order stuff.
I haven't pre-ordered yet, but with how interchangeable they are with the bolt action figures, I figure I got a good leg up. I'll just get some laser cannon turrets for my M10 so that they can crew stun some kind of walker.
Well, I have extra Tesla turrets. I bought a bunch of old Dust stuff, and there's some Tesla turrets in that, and then I picked up a little collection of Dust figures that I'm gonna make some. Instead of the werewolf guys, I'm gonna make Tesla armed gorillas. Like from the old Dust game. But all in all, it was a good event, I thought. I had Blastil.
At K-47, you going to make them literally gorillas?
That's the model is.
Like
it's
literally
a gorilla. It's a gorilla with 2 power fists over its head.
All right, that's good.
Yeah. It's apparently it's in the Arctic expansion. I picked up a bunch of them, like stupid cheap. The models are cool looking. They're a little bit bigger than 28, but I'm like, they're gorillas, so it makes sense.
Yep.
There's 3 of them. They're all the same pose, but I don't care.
Yeah.
They'll be fun to paint up. So yeah, freaking. There's no Nazis in conflict now. There's just the Green Vault, which has always been there apparently.
Oh, there was that big lore dump. I got to read up on that.
It's interesting.
There was a big lore dump.
I was talking to John, and they're giving you a little bit behind the scenes look. I like the direction they're going with the fluff. It makes sense too. Why I can tell you this, probably not giving anything away. The reason there's no Nazis now, like, believe it or not, guys, they were on the way out at the end of World War II. They were on the way out. And then when the rift opened and this Green Vault behind the scenes was running everyone like puppets, they ousted old Adolf and they took over, and a lot of the generals who were also wanting to get rid of Hitler stayed generals, and now it's like the Weimar Republic on steroids.
Okay.
So it's back to like
Prussians.
Yeah, it's basically that. It's Prussians with occult science.
Okay.
So, like, henceforth, that's why there's no Nazis, which made people mad. I'm like, guys, I get it, I guess. But guess what?
Them.
Yeah, so am I. Like, oh no, darn, Nazis are gone. But regardless of that, it looks pretty exciting. We'll do a video on it when it drops.
Yeah, something I'm certainly looking at now, especially with the changes they made in New Edition, updating some of the rules, some of the mechanics that are in there. I don't know enough about to really comment on it. It just sounds interesting enough that my radar is definitely on it.
Force organization is just like 3rd edition bolt action, so you'll have that kind of a setup. Everything's late war, so like there's none of this like, oh no, I can't take my 15 Renault FTs against a Tesla tank. Like that stuff is gone. Like, so it's all later war stuff, which is kind of cool.
Yeah, but they had a. Was that the mech that they had at their table that you had the pictures of?
So that's that's one of the American mechs. Okay. Apparently, the starter comes with 2 of them. Like the starters are loaded.
Okay, they do good, really.
Yeah,
they do have really good starters. Boy, awards like.
And like I said, he's telling all kinds of cool stuff. There's infinite range with some of their weapons. If you have power armor, like it gets rid of fixed team weapon, all kinds of stuff. So instead of like having a guy walking around with an MG42. It has to have the loader. If you're in power armor, you can just hold the gun yourself, which makes sense.
Makes sense.
Like same with like Panzer Shreks and stuff. It looks interesting. And then there's Rift technology, which gives you extra bonuses, like in their Rift dice. It's definitely cool. It's definitely weird and wonderful, kind of. And they're building a game as like this is just like the end of mankind, basically. Like they're just doing all kinds of unspeakable things with nuclears, freaking occult science, zombies, Tesla cannons, sound guns, gravity guns. Like it's definitely all the high science fiction that people want, but in a 40s package.
Okay, so you get that retro futuristic, I think is the term.
Yeah, or I wouldn't call it.
Term.
I wouldn't call it diesel punk, but it's definitely something like it.
Something along those lines.
It's pretty cool. Guys in power armor and like werewolf dudes and Russian werebear people. What more can you? The Captain America guys running around.
Yeah.
With like apparently like railgun Tommies or something. Like what more do you want?
Yeah, sounds like it's got everything.
I think we're going to actually catch a lot of 40K players, especially with the new edition. Oh, by the way, rest in peace, Carl Drago. Apparently he's out.
I didn't hear about that.
Yeah, he died.
Yeah.
Well, he got pulled out of the book.
Yeah, it's weird directions they're taking that.
Yeah,
that's a whole other misadventure, I fear.
I need to do a short on rest in peace, Carl Drago.
I was always a bearer of the word, so I never really followed the grenades.
Whoa!
I've heard of it.
All right, you have anything else to add, brother, besides like the word?
No, it was a great. No, it was a.
That's awesome.
Matchup. Yeah, it was a good event. It was a good time. Convention Society is great.
Yep. We always wish to
vendors.
do. Yeah, oh yeah. We always wish to do better, all of us.
Yeah, and next year it'll be a completely different scene because everybody will have their books by the.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's I think
they should have. Everyone should have their books. That was kind of the other bad part about this. Some of us had our books, Americans and Germans.
Americans were.
Yeah, you're right. I definitely feel the Germans have a little more edge when it comes to the book.
Yeah.
And that was kind of the bad part. Some people didn't have their books, like the British players that were playing British, the few that were, their books like a month out, so they couldn't take it. Even if the Warlord app, it's on there already, they couldn't really use it for the event.
Yeah, I probably should have used my Italians because they have good rules.
With a lot of your stuff, like especially fortifications, you probably would have done really good. Or the fact no one running probably would have been really big, especially against.
But that doesn't count for first wave.
Ah, that's right.
First wave
that's right.
can still run.
I think they FAQ'd it, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But, well, new additions, new events, still figuring out the meta. There was no real.
Yeah.
There was no cookie cutter list. We saw everything from 2 Tiger 2s and a Ferdinand or what.
Yeah, that was Charles. He had an 8 dice list, and they were regulars. He said too. They weren't veteran.
5 Panzer 3s. There was 1 Soviet player without bomb dogs.
One guy had bomb dogs, and like none of them worked. They blew up his own tank. That says accurate.
Yeah, it was very much a varied scene, which I think speaks well to how it will be in the future.
I think so too. I think that there is no. I think it's gonna be hard to pin down a meta, especially as the books keep coming. Yeah. And they've already said once the last book comes out, a lot of the FAQ armies are going to get a jump, and then they're going to come out with their own books. Like we already know there's going to be a Commonwealth book coming out. It sounds like the French are going to get like a double book.
Okay.
So
they were getting.
So you're going to get early. You're going to have French early and French late. And then I would dare I say it. There should be Vichy French, because they were a faction. You know what I mean? And they did have some really interesting kit. It would definitely be a minor nation.
But it would be an interesting one to see, say, alongside if they do a Minor Nations Axis book, have the Vichy French with some of their Eastern European allies.
Yep.
Some of the leftover kits.
And the Allies did fight Vichy French a lot in the Middle East and North Africa. So, like, they were combatants. So it wasn't... And I think actually some of the landings in southern France were Vichy French.
Yeah,
resisted. So, like, there is precedence to have them. I just think it's one of those subjects no one wants to touch because of how controversial the Fiji French regime was.
And also, how distinct would it be in a flavor? Like, what kind of flavor could you give it that wouldn't be inherently negative, like the Italians had created?
Plus it'd be hard to like. I don't know if they had any different kit than early war French.
Yeah.
Just I know some of the colony areas they did, like whenever the British took over Macadamia. I won't call it Macadamia. that island off of Africa?
Madagascar?
That's it. Wow, there's a kids movie about it. Madagascar. That was actually Vichy French held, and there was a big invasion over it.
Yep.
So like, and I think there was actually some pretty heavy. I think it was like French Foreign Legion that were Vichy. So you could have a really varied force.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would like them to touch on that maybe.
Yeah, same with some of like the Chinese Burmese India theater, the Chinese theater in general could use.
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing some forces from that.
Believe it or not, the Kingdom of Bangkok, Thailand, was an Axis ally. I collect guns, and that's one of the guns I'm trying to get hold of is a Siamese Mauser, and that's one reason I know that they were an ally. But they actually fought some French colonial troops and the British and the Burmese and that whole region. So that could be another
Free Polish. They fought with the British.
they've kind of touched on them. Yeah, they did the Free Polish, and I think the Brazilians in that compliment book. They touched on them. They touched on the Spanish Blue Legion. So I think they're touching on them. We'll just have to see in the future. It's exciting.
Because, I mean, it truly was a world war, and so you can have nations. It's just trying to figure out what kind of flavor you can give them to make them distinct. Right. You can run Late War Frenches with American equipment.
Right.
And the rules are probably acceptable enough, except for maybe giving them a bonus to, fighting for their land, to free their land. Maybe a morale bonus thing.
And you could do Late War French with partisans.
Yes.
Because they did do joint operations. So, speaking of partisans, so our event's coming up here September 20th, Heavy Metal Con 2025, and there'll be a link in this video. If you've watched it this far, thanks for watching us. Thank you very much.
Subscribe and all that, all the YouTube pleasantries, as they say.
My last video I went really to depth saying thanks guys, meaning you guys as fans. Just the interaction's awesome, and it's very humbling that you guys take the time to watch us talk. Like we probably spent almost an hour just talking. But if you go on tabletop events, that's where it is. There's still some place open. It's going to be one of our first events. We're going to try to grow it eventually to Heavy Metal Open, which we'll do a video. I'm going to do a video of the event we're doing because we're doing a bolt action event, more like siege event. So like you have two armies, you have a defense army, an offensive army, and then the third round's just be open play, just for people to play around. It'll be board games, RPG tables. I'm doing a collab with another channel, Rivers RPGs. He's like a local guy. He's pretty cool. But long story short, just check that out. We have some merch if you want to support us.
Buy the merch.
Yeah, buy some merch.
Buy the merch.
Yeah, I'm gonna be doing a lot of it here soon. Actually, I'm gonna make some special shirts, stuff like that. We closed the Etsy store down. That's why if you guys, some people have asked about where the Etsy store is. I shut it down for a couple reasons. So at least with Shopify, it's a little bit easier to manage. I'm not getting like destroyed on fees. But other than that, guys, thanks. Like, subscribe, like Iron Foot said. Yeah.
Oh wait, I think I still have somebody else.
Oh, maybe. Whatever. We're little enough, no one cares.
Yeah. No.
But if you have any suggestions or ideas, like, share, subscribe, do all that. Comment. Like, tell us how dumb we are, or hey, that's awesome. Or if you have any ideas for shows and stuff, we're getting ready to do some. We're probably gonna play a game here tonight. Do some Team Yankee. Record if you like, or we just play just a count cleanse. And then I'm doing some videos on some Wargames Atlantic product. I picked up a bunch of that. That's what my fifth column are made out of.
Yeah.
And I have enough bits now I can make my turban wearing Brandon Burgers for the next tournament. Let me a lot more colorful.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh. But all right, guys. This video is long as get out. So
this will be fun to edit.
Luckily, we don't need too much editing because we don't say we didn't write too many bad words or anything.
No, very much a clean rating.
Right, absolutely. Right. But I'm the GuildMaster.
Yep, Iron Foot.
And like always, guys, freaking always seize the objective.
Roll the dice.